The next step of the authentication process is to display feedback to the user according to the different situations that can arise. And the first situation is the one that we are all looking for. It's when the login process is a success. So let's return in ColdFusion Builder. And here I will go after the legend tag of HTML inside of the form to write a CF-if. That open and close. And inside of the CF-if, I will use the struct key exists function of ColdFusion to verify in the session scope, which is a structure. I will return here to the authentication service to copy paste the name of the variable I'm looking for. It is this st logged in user structure. So let's copy paste that here. So I verify if this variable exists in the session scope. And I know that if it does exist, it means that a user has successfully logged into the application and that the user data is available inside of that structure. So in that case, I can safely display a welcome message. Now, if it does not exist, it means that no user is logged in, so I need a CF-else. And in that case, I need to display the login form. So let's move that end CF-if after the last field of the form, and I will indent the code here to make it more readable, like that. Okay, and now for the welcome message, I need a paragraph of text. Inside of that paragraph, I will output some dynamic data, so I need a CF output block. And I will write welcome, followed by the first name and the last name of the logged in user. Now those pieces of information are stored in this st logged in user structure, so let's look into that structure, into session.st logged in user. And you know that inside of that structure, I have created a first key called user first name. So this is what I want to output in that location. For the last name, it's almost the same. So I will copy paste this line here, and I will change by the name of the second key of the st logged in user structure, like that. Now I also need a second paragraph in the welcome message, so let's create another p tag of HTML in which I want to display a link with the a tag of HTML to my profile, the profile of the logged in user. And that link will go with the href attribute of HTML, that link will go to /cftraining/profile.cfm, which is the profile page that we have here in our project. Now there is a third paragraph that I need to display in the welcome message, but I will display that third paragraph only if the user is an administrator. So I need another CF-if to verify if the user that is logged in is an administrator. And to verify that, I will need the isUserInRole function of ColdFusion. And I will verify if the user is in the administrator role. Now I can use this isUserInRole function because in the authentication service I have used the CFLogin and the CFLogin user tags. And using the CFLogin user, I could tell ColdFusion what is the role of the user that is currently logged in. So this is what makes the use of isUserInRole possible in the loginform.cfm page. Now, if the user is an administrator, I need a third paragraph that will be also a link with the a tag of HTML, and the link will go to the site administration. And that link will point to a page that does not exist yet. That will be stored in cftraining/admin/main.cfm. We will develop that page later in the course. So this is for the first situation when the login procedure is a success. The second situation is when all the submitted data validates that is an email address and a password, are both correctly submitted, but no corresponding user is found in the database. In that case, the isUserLoggedIn variable exists and it has a value of false. So let's write another CFIF here, and I will check using once again the struct key exists function of ColdFusion. I will check in the variables, in the variable scope. Remember that the variable scope is the default scope, and it is a scope that is local to the page. And inside of that scope, I will check if this variable exists, like that. And I will also check with the AND keyword if that variable is equal to false. If those two conditions are met, then I can safely output another paragraph, another message with the class error message. That class is of course defined in the CSS style sheet of the site. And I will write here, user not found, please try again, like that. Now there is a third situation, and the third situation is when the submitted data does not validate. In that situation, the A error messages array exists and it is not empty. So let's add here another CFIF, and I will check using again struct key exists. I will check in the variables scope if this A error messages array exists, and also using the array is empty function if that array is not empty. If both those conditions are met, then I can output the error messages that are contained in that A error messages array using a CF loop, and that CF loop loops over the A error messages array. And I will also use the item attribute of the CF loop tag to define the name of a variable, which is here message. And that variable will let me access the item on which I'm currently looping. And here I will display inside of the loop another paragraph with the same error message class, and it will be simply the value of that message variable. So the three situations have been taken care of, and in the next video we will implement the logout feature.